It's a beautiful Sunday for another weekly Q&A session, and if you're not familiar with what this is, it is a similar setup to the weekly live streams, except of course, instead of being live, it is pre-recorded, and we'll be fielding questions from Discord, which you can contribute to, by the way, freely, with the link in the description below for Discord. Anyways, we'll start it off with a very quick analysis here for Bitcoin. Bitcoin closed out on Friday for CME, obviously not trading over the weekend, on the lows, and also confirming hidden bearish divergence on the daily time frame and even the 2-day time frame as well. And overall, it is continuing to be a downtrend. It looks like we have yet another lower high and a series of lower highs, and just the overall bias of still being below that March 6th high does make me think that Bitcoin is still likely to trade to the downside, into this next week. We also have the bear moons as well, by the way, which is the real analysis. But on a more serious note, it's hard for me not to think that Bitcoin's going to come somewhere down between about $78,000 to $81,000 on CME here. You can see the white 200 simple is at $78,500, just an ever so slight tick above the current low of March. And we also have the quarterly closing tomorrow night as well. So hopefully it doesn't close on the actual lows. That would look pretty fucking bad. But for right now, I still do anticipate some downside into this next week. If there is going to be any sort of hoping, if there is going to be any sort of major reversal, I do think that it comes again from lower, somewhere around here. Does that play out with the hash ribbons indicator? Perhaps yes. I'll be releasing a video on a more detailed sort of setup analysis on that this coming week. I think that would be a good time. But first, we want to let this play out. Bitcoin still bearish. Crazy. Fucking crazy, man. A downtrend is downtrend bearish? What? Oh, I can even see. I got a little bit of a black eye yesterday, sparring it up in boxing. Good times. Sparring actual pros, which is fucking crazy, man. They're so good. They're so fucking good. Anyways, yes, okay. Oh, also, before we get to the actual Q&A section, I do want to once again let you know that there's just 1 day left on our 20% off sale for our 7th year anniversary with the code YEAR7, year in all capitals, and then the number 7 for any one of the programs or services that you see in the Teachable link in the description below. On top of that, you can still try out the Quant Prime Caretaker's full indicator bundle, even the VMP and the Quantum Wave Bands for free for the first 30 days with the code TRIAL in all capitals. I should let you know as well about some planned upcoming changes to the Quantum Wave Bands, which is this strategy right here. Just a very, very low term time frame scalping strategy. We're going to be adding more strategies to it, and also we're going to be focusing on trending strategies for these time frames. So you have a scalping strategy and then a trending strategy, and then we'll also, and then what we're also going to do is we're also going to bring up a nice new Discord channel just for Quantum Wave Band users. If you want to chat it up there and ask questions, then that would be the place to do it. But these are all coming likely before the end of next month. The end of next month being April, of course. And like I said, you can try this out for free. This is, in my opinion, a really, really good strategy for especially beginners, just because it keeps you on track. Like, more important than anything, keeps you from getting fucking wrecked, keeps you from getting fucking wrecked, because obviously the risk management is built in there for you. Or at least, it tells you, hey, like, you should probably get out now. And then, of course, it also does tell you profit taken as well. But yeah, even throughout the past week, which was a rather tumultuous time, and I think a lot of people really struggled, did have a couple wins right here. Small wins, but wins nonetheless. Very small loss right here, and then followed by another win just yesterday. So fair enough. Anyways, let's get into the actual Q&A. We'll start it off with the YouTube member sections. As always, YouTube members get full priority for this. And we'll start it off with Banksy Rules. He says, Crown, I figured out why I was unable to post as a member on the YouTube page. I had not upgraded to the Q&A membership. That will do it. That will definitely do it. Some nice show recommendations here. Yeah, man, American Prime Evil is fucking badass, but you're about to get into the episode that was like very, very traumatizing. Anyways, 3 requests if you can. You're looking at some Chinese ETF K-Tech. In general, I think just avoid Chinese shit, man, to be honest, but we can look at it. Might as well go over here. See what we got. Rest of traditional markets is correcting as well. This thing is no different. I do think it comes down further, probably to test around the weekly 21 moving average, which is $15.50 or so, maybe a little bit lower than there. I do think that you get that sort of a move probably in April. I don't have any, or you haven't given me any timeframes for this. So yeah, I'm just going to go weekly and then monthly. Monthly, yeah, I think that you reconnect over here, like mid to low $15 region. Hopefully a short-term bounce and then come back to it after that. But that's the obvious move for right now. You're also looking at FXI, another Chinese ETF. I really, one of the things that I learned when I first came in to trading in traditional markets was to avoid Chinese shit, is what my mentor said. Maybe a little bit racist, but at the same time, it trades weirdly. Anyways, this one getting rejected by the monthly 200 simple moving average, again, with just 1 day left to go. Weekly also showing some bearish divergence here. I think that you're on a bit of a pullback minimum, or at least a pullback. You know, I would think like anywhere between $33 to $34. I guess the hoping would be like a bounce and then takes out the March highs. That would be obviously bullish, but until that happens, I think that the bounce probably does fail, to be frank. And then you're also looking at a gold ETF. Okay, well, fair enough. At AAAU. Boom. Okay, nice one. This is Goldman Sachs gold ETF, and I imagine it just tracks regular spot gold, and we've been bullish on spot gold for a while. I will continue to be bullish on it here as well. It's acting like a real hedge towards global uncertainty, which is interesting. But yeah, I do think that there are new highs coming in probably in April. Quarterly closing out like this is fucking strong. Monthly closing out like this, also fucking strong. If it does want to pull back anywhere around 29 and a half to $30 is fair game, but the obvious direction is to the upside here. I do think though that you are getting towards the very end of this parabolic rally, but it's not there just yet. But it's I do think that it is coming relatively soon. Weekly BBWP getting to some crazy levels. You're going to see natural divergences start to form as well. But again, new highs first. So this is like the hard part of a parabolic bull market is, near the end where it's like, oh, fuck, is this thing actually ending or not? Or I don't know. It's very, very difficult to tell. But for now, I'd still be looking at upside. See you in Vegas. Fuck yeah, man. Yeah, we're hopefully going to be getting a fight in Vegas at the end of May. We're going to be doing it at the Bitcoin conference. Just a matter of getting an opponent, honestly. But yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to that. Anyways, Old Gringold says, GM Crown, what's up, man? Another week, another request. All good, man. EUL. Okay, EUL. And remind me, is this a crypto or... yeah, it is a crypto. Euler. Yes. It is interesting to me that Euler looks significantly different than most altcoins, like 99% of altcoins. Now, it did trade up to the topside boundary of this region. I believe we drew this out last week for you as well. I don't really have anything new to add on to this. This is looking like it's a bit of a rejection to me. But long term, this is not necessarily bad, like long term. But, after you reject the topside boundary, typically you come down to the middle at least. That would be about 435, 440-ish region, maybe a short-term bounce there. And maybe gets one more try at a higher low here. And then it actually goes for a potential breakout. But yeah, with the way that this week is looking right now, especially on the daily as well, I don't think it's breaking out on this particular move right here. I think if it was going to do it, we would have seen it on Tuesday. Instead, that rally was not materialized. So yeah, ultimately, long term, it actually does look a lot better than most things. But in the more short term, in the more near term, I do think that you have a little bit of downside and continue on with this long term reaccumulation formation is what it looks like. Of course, you'll know that I'm wrong if it even just trades above this week's highs. Obviously bullish, obviously breaking out to probably test the prior all-time high, maybe make new all-time highs. But yeah, I think that this one can take some time to materialize. Anyways, getting my damn chair over here, bastard. All right, Crypto Rect RD says, "Dear Sir Crown, hope Elson you are doing well. Thank you, man. I hope you're doing well as well, sir. I'm trying to shortlist tokens which did better as compared to others in the last few months of the crypto massacre. Fair enough. I think tokens which didn't close below the 55 EMA on the weekly are better ones." Yeah, and then you list out a bunch of different ones. May I know your thoughts, please? I mean, you can look at them as considered relatively stronger, but my main fear with kind of just saying that blankly without context is that Look, if Bitcoin's coming down, they're all going to come down as well. It's just those ones might not come down as much. But, what could that look like? Maybe it's like Bitcoin down 10%, and then, altcoin, nameless altcoin XYZ, if it's on the stronger side, maybe it's down like 5%. Maybe they play catch up as well. But, my general rule is that, okay, that's relative strength. Obviously, Bitcoin's still above its 55 as well, but compared to the other altcoins. So it's like, if Bitcoin's going to be bearish, then I guess holding those altcoins would be a better do than holding the shittier altcoins that are trading below their weekly 55. But I'm not saying that would be like a good investment or a good trade. I think it's going to work against you either way. The market is 99% beholden to the general direction of Bitcoin, which is beholden to the general direction of traditional markets, in my opinion. So yeah, man, hopefully that was helpful. All right. Nice. That is it for our YouTube members. Let's get into the Discord community here. I've already posted the new Q&A session, by the way. We already have a couple of comments too. Cool. All right. For this one, though, we have Rectops first. He says, GM, what's up, man? Would love your opinion on my profit-taking strategy, as I mostly set a stop loss because most of the time when I sell, it goes much higher. Okay. What's your profit-taking strategy? Do you say, right? If I can seek another question, I think I'm missing some context here, or maybe you forgot that. Like I said, though, I really do need to be more stringent with just one question. Like, please read the fucking message here. I'll read the other one just because I don't your first question isn't really a question, or it wasn't completed. How would you allocate your trading portfolio and sizing? Do you, for example, deploy 5% trades on a trade, close and repeat? Okay, so you're asking me to figure out what is my per trade basis relative to my total equity. It's actually quite low, honestly. Doing some bad mental math, somewhere between 5 and 10%. I mean, the way that I look at it is I don't really care to size up anymore. In fact, if anything, over the past few years, I've actually sized down on my, on my trades. So, whenever I make profit, I just put that into my long-term bags and those continue to grow, but I'm not like increasing my trade size. It's high enough, high enough for me. Anyways, but yeah, for me, 5%, somewhere between 5 to 10%, is what I keep in my trading account. So yeah, something like that. K3 says, hey Crown, I really appreciate the Q&A. All good, man. I enjoy doing these and would love your view on, okay, I just need to copy and paste this thing because what the fuck? I'm not going to remember that one. Also, apparently TradingView doesn't remember it. It doesn't know it as well. Maybe let's try this. Yeah, there we go. All right. I guess you're looking at something like this as well. All right. What exactly is your question? Daily, weekly, range breakdown when weekly close below 47 or below the 55 EMA weekly? It's basically one of the same, or no, I would say the 55 here. I mean, you've seen several wicks down there already. Yeah, I just want to see it close below this March 10th low. At that point, I mean, look, I think this thing's coming down either which way you look at it, to be honest. But if you want to go, if you want to go buy the book, which is always good, then I think you're going to get another test down around here, but should bounce. Does that bounce reclaim the March 25th high? If it does, okay, bullish. If not, I think you have continuation of trend. And in this case, the trend, unfortunately, is to the downside. So yeah, I would say below the 55. I think 47 is a little bit too high there, even though I do think it's probably just going to break anyways. But yeah, fair enough. No Mud, No Lotus says, hey, Brosy, I haven't seen you refer to the Gaussian channel in ages. I was curious the other day and checked it out. Seems the 5 days found support at the tops of the channel for now, although in the current uptrend from August last year, the lows have found support at the midline, which coincides with the 74,000 level of support. What are your thoughts? Yeah, there's a million indicators out there, and plenty of them are good. It's just, in my daily videos, I try to make it digestible. I try to make it relatable. So I don't like to go above like 10 minutes or so. So yeah, the Gaussian channel for me just it doesn't really give significantly unique information that perhaps my moving averages would give, and my moving averages give more than that. So the way that I think of it is like screen real estate plus just video real estate. But yeah, you're right. It is trying to bounce off of the top side. Of course, this 5-day will end tomorrow alongside the monthly and the quarterly. And if it does close below the top side band, which is 84,700, traditionally, a lot of the time you will come down to the median band. Now that is rising up rather aggressively. And I suspect that even on the next tick, it's probably going to be either at or slightly below the current March lows. And that kind of aligns with what I think anyways for Bitcoin. It's like, I think you're going to retest down around those lows. Just don't want to see a break to new lows. Otherwise, I think all bull market hopium dies alongside that, or at least my bull market hopium. Anyways, yeah. Manticore says, hello, sir. What's up, man? Holding a reasonable bag of deep at an average DCA of 20 cents. Okay, let's bring this one up. I actually used to watch this one. Oh, shit, you're fucked. sorry. 20 cents, man. That was like 68% ago. Hold on. Maybe I'm reading this not right. Okay. No, I am. That is 20 cents. All right. No longer bullish for the cycle and looking for exits. Was hopeful might test 17 cents in the coming months. Any thoughts on how to cut my losses? So yeah, this would be another good example of an altcoin that I think is certainly topped out for this cycle alongside Sui as well. Can it get a big bounce? Sure. Yeah. Would this be a good area to be looking for a decent bounce from? It's hard to say that, man, because I do think that Bitcoin has another try at the lows here, and I can't really imagine that most alts are going to not trade with Bitcoin and probably lose even more in the short term. So generally, my sort of big bounce here would actually be down around here, maybe closer to like 5 to 6 cents even. From there, could it bounce up to 17? I think 17 is, that's essentially the bull trap of this cycle for, Jesus, where can I even see this? Yeah, it is essentially the bull trap of this cycle for this, this name. So I'd say, I don't think so. I think if it does get a big bounce, I'd be looking somewhere between 13 to 14 cents. That would kind of be my area. But, this thing is just downtrend after downtrend after downtrend. There's just no real reason to even be looking at these kind of like hopium targets to the upside as long as it's trading below this last lower high here, which is just under 10 cents. So, if it can reclaim that, yeah, I think it goes for another like 30% rally, 40% rally to 13, 14 cents. I wouldn't necessarily count on 17 cents, to be honest. But I guess we'll see. I guess the hopium is that Bitcoin plays out the hash ribbons indicator and this thing gets a big bounce. I think ultimately the bounce would fail, but I have a hard time seeing it going above 17 cents, to be honest. It would require a very, very strong market. So yeah. All right. Let's see. Conan766 says, hello, Crown. You've mentioned before about keeping Bitcoin as the underlying asset in a trading account when trading a long strategy in a Bitcoin bull market in order to get gains from trading and gains from holding Bitcoin. Is this possible in Bluefin as the perpetual contracts are Bitcoin? It's Bitcoin versus Tether. Yeah. So I assume you have to hold Tether in order to trade through a bottom there. Yeah. So my biggest complaint with Bluefin is that they don't have inverse perpetuals. That's what allows you to hold Bitcoin as collateral in order to put on margin trades. Bybit is really fucking good with this because they don't just allow you to hold Bitcoin, that you can hold anything and use it as collateral in the unified trading account. Unfortunately, Bluefin doesn't have that. I think it's probably due to a legal thing because they are no KYC. So maybe if they do inverse perpetual contracts, that might, bring some sort of regulatory hell on them. Who knows? But yeah, man, unfortunately, you can't do that on Bluefin right now. Hamia says, "Hey Crown, what percentage of Bitcoin makes up your entire investment portfolio, including stocks? How much exposure would you say one should have to Bitcoin? How much exposure would you say one should have to Bitcoin? That's going to be highly variable, of course. We all have different situations. If you have a lot of if you have a lot of like excess cash, then I think having like a good amount of exposure to Bitcoin is wise. Maybe depending upon your risk tolerance, anywhere between 15 to 50%, like 15 to 50. So personally, I need to add these up. So you're asking me to weigh my Bitcoin my Bitcoin for the long term versus my entire investment portfolio, which is stocks or mostly ETFs. So I have to do some mental math right now. Okay, I do have to say my Bitcoin investment is significantly higher than what I set out for it to be right now. But that's really just a function of Bitcoin price going up so much. I'm not saying that this is a good breakdown. I'm just telling you the fucking truth. But it would have to be. I actually want to get out a calculator. Like, this can't be right. My brains are not handling this one well. Okay. Wow, it is. Okay. Whoops. Okay. Right now it's 65 to 70%. Again, that's not because I want it to be that high. That's only because Bitcoin's gone up so much. I intended for it to be about 50 to 50, like 50% Bitcoin, 50% stocks. And that's where I wanted to get to and rebalance to. It's just right now things are weird. Anyways, let's see. TK41 says, Konnichiwa, Crown. Konnichiwa, sir. Thanks for the CO1 update last week, but I was looking for the toothpaste company, Colgate Palmolive. Okay, glad you specified, sir. CL. Can we get back over 100 this year? I'm guessing it's this one. Yes. Okay, so that's essentially your March highs. I actually do think it's possible, yes. This is a pretty damn good chart long term, so it's not wise to be betting on downside. I do think your next move is to the downside, and I do think that you're going to play out a bit of a range between your March highs and your February/January lows, something like this. But I could easily see it coming back down close there, putting in a double bottom, maybe a slightly higher low, and then rounding and taking out this high. Yeah. Other than that, I don't really have much to add, but, I wouldn't necessarily be bearish on this thing as long as it's above, 82 and a half bucks. So I think it's going to take some time here. Yes. But I do think that, the long term, pretty damn good, actually. Quarterly is a little bit concerning, I guess, but, sometimes these things can just look weird like that. I suppose. I'd like to see where it closes out. If it can close out above 92 and 10 cents by tomorrow night, Monday, for the end of the month, I'd say, yeah, end of year, starts to look pretty good. But again, in the short term, I do think it's another try at downside. I just think that it holds. Anyways, we'll move on. We have Myth Reindeer. What's up, man? How's the spring treating you? Right now, not so well, because it's actually still, it feels like fall out here in Finland, but soon enough, it will be heaven in Finland yet again. Anyways, you're wanting to look at HBAR. HBAR. Any hopes for above 24 to a quarter? I don't know. Let's see. Well, that's, hold on. Where exactly would that be? Is there any hope for that? Like, of course, there's always hope, right? It's just this thing is freshly breaking down right here. Yes, you're going to have probably a bounce relatively soon because bullish divergence is building on the daily RSI. But do you come down a little bit more first before something like that plays out? Yeah, I think so. I think that you get a test down to like 15, 16 cents. Anyways, geez. Like, do I think that this thing's going to get back above a quarter? I certainly wouldn't be even entertaining the possibility of that until it's back above this lower high right here from the 25th of March. That's 20 cents. If it can reclaim there, I think that there's some hopium, but to me that this is looking like a fresh breakdown, like not a fucking bounce into a reversal. So I'd have to say, I don't think so. But of course, I can be wrong on that. I can be very, very, very wrong on that. I can be wrong on just about anything. But if I had to call it right now, I think you got another downside move. And then the hopium is that you have a fucking tremendous bounce off of like 15, 16 cents and reclaim that March 10th high. If you can do that, okay. Definitely possible. But I would be skeptical of this thing as long as you're especially below that March 10th. What exactly was it? Sorry, March 26th high. March 26th high. So yeah. All right. Let me take another sip of this water. Volpes says, GM, sir. Wishing a great beginning of spring to you and Elsa. Thanks, man. You as well. I'm trying to get more serious with understanding trading. Okay. So pardon in advance for the long-winded question. Follow up on my previous question regarding BBWP. You mentioned using trend and momentum oscillators to help determine which way price is likely to move upon expansion. Could you give an example of the oscillators you use yourself? The name, I can find them. Yeah. By the way, you can actually join for free my crypto, my very beginner friendly crypto school. It's like super beginner focused. Just by signing up to the Bluffin link in the description below, and then going over to the crypto school page and signing up there. The Bluffin link, you don't even need to use the fucking account. You can just sign up. I'm not supposed to tell you this, but it doesn't really matter, to be honest. So yeah, anyways, the reason why I bring that up though is because we've actually just had yet another perfect example of the setup that I kind of or that you seem to be referencing here. So let's put back on these. There we go. All right. So in this case, we have bearish moving average crosses, the 21 versus the 55s to the downside. So, thinking generally looking for shorts when that's occurring. We saw that BBWP was very, very low alongside this test between the 21 and the 55. And during that time, Bitcoin didn't just kind of hang out here, but we saw that the momentum oscillator on the daily stochastic actually confirmed across the downside. So you have low volatility plus a downtrend, and the momentum's turning back onto the downside. That's when you have a high probability downside direction, which was also another reason why kind of looking for this move in last week and probably this coming week as well. You can find the stochastic, this one is the advanced stochastic oscillator, but you can find the default stochastic oscillator just on TradingView. Go to the public library, type in Stoke, it'll pop up. Don't do the fucking stochastic RSI, that's garbage, but the stochastic oscillator, it's tried and true. It's been around for a long time. And there are special settings that I like to use for that, 14, 3, and 6, BBWP. You can probably keep it default. Other than that, yeah, that's really all that it comes down to. It's not going to be perfect all the time. Of course, nothing is, but it's going to be on the right side of the trade more often than not. All right. Samuel Johnson says, well met, Sir Crown. Another Chinese EV stock. Oh, dear Lord. BYD. Okay. The alternate. Let's try this. BYD.SZ. BYD.SC. Okay. Not on TradingView, but you gave another ticker, 1211. There we go. I guess we go to Hong Kong for this one. Actually generally pretty good. Yeah, generally pretty damn good here. Monthly just looks like a continuation of the breakout after a retest of 340. So I'd be looking for new all-time highs actually coming into April, and very likely throughout this next quarter. Yeah, quarterly's fucking good here, man. Doesn't need to be any more crazy than that. But and it sounds like you're more long-term. So yeah, I think that this one continues. Very, very likely. I'd be very bullish on this thing as long as you're above March's low. As long as you're above there, the direction is fucking up, the breakout is real, and it just got resolved. And this is like a multi-year long consolidation. So I don't think it's ending in just 1 month. I think it'll take many months, actually. All right. Tristram says, Sup Crown, as highly esteemed blue balls signal has finally fired off, could you prioritize major top signals you discussed? Could you prioritize what do you mean by prioritize? Major top signals you discussed in your videos, and maybe provide some examples how to incorporate them into exit strategies. I actually honestly don't understand what you're asking, to be just to be frank. Could you prioritize major top signals you discussed? Which top signals have I discussed in my videos? I mean, I haven't made like a top cycle video since December, which was saying that this market cycle is going to see either a major high or the high in the first quarter of 2025. Then I kind of went back on that later on in February, holding on to some hopium. But yeah, it does look like that's going to be right. But yeah, other than that, I don't understand. Maybe your question is more like, how would you anticipate an exit signal and then play that and just get the fuck out of the market? Well, there's two things that I see happening from here. It can go up or it can go down. No. The two things that I can see here is that, in the short term, Bitcoin comes down, but there is hopium still available for the bull market cycle still being on as long as Bitcoin's above those March lows, or basically just closing the weekly above the 55 here. Second, that it starts to close below. You might have bounces along the way, but the direction's fucking down, man, at that point. And it's going to be down probably a lot. I would be looking anywhere between 50 to 60,000 bucks, probably a big bounce there. So, how do you want to exit that? Well, I'd be waiting for the closure below there. The other way would be, or the other side of things, that Bitcoin is essentially reaccumulating here and it's going to put in new all-time highs, blah, 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 blah. What would I be looking for then in order to have like an exit signal? It's always difficult because I personally am never going to get out at the top, nor am I going to get in at the exact bottom. But when the daily trend flips, that's usually a pretty good time. When you get, 3 drives of weekly bearish divergence, that's also typically a pretty strong signal for Bitcoin. When you get the monthly MACD cross to the downside, that's also a pretty damn strong signal for end of market. So, when you start to see these sort of things happening, you don't need to get all out, but I would definitely get some out. And then, you can monitor it, over the next few weeks, next few months. And take out more as things look bleaker and bleaker. But yeah, that's really all that I have to say about that. Neil Yo says, "Greetings, sir. Hope all is well. Is there any hopium for NVIDIA?" There's always hopium, just might not be high probability. And I would have to say that this is very low probability. Like hopium for this continuing on to new highs from here, I think that's very unlikely, man. You have a head and shoulders on the monthly RSI, very fucked up version. You also have bearish divergence on the monthly RSI of 3 drives. Like I think in the short term you come down below $100, maybe closer to like 95 to 97. Probably try for a short term bounce there. If that bounce for whatever reason, which I highly doubt happens, but always possible, gets back above 122 and a quarter. Okay, bullish, and the hopium is alive and well. But I'm a lot more inclined to say that this thing is coming down much further throughout this year, closer to like 75 to 60 bucks. The quarterly has 3 drives of bearish divergence here as well. So that's bullish. No, kidding. Yeah, I think you're getting a big long-term correction here after this thing just went fucking vertical, right? Anyways, let's take another sip of this, then we'll get back into it. We're only 32 minutes into this bitch as well. We might even get through all the comments today, which would be crazy. Mitchell, the goat face killer. Nice. I've heard of the ghost face killer, but not the goat faced killer. Good day, fine sir. Been watching your stream for 3 years plus now. That's super cool, man. Awesome. That's really awesome to hear, actually. I've been meaning to stop by here just to say hi and to publicly give you thanks and praise. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that, man. That's very, very kind of you. But while I'm here, lol, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what your longer term positions are. Are you still in coin? No, I'm not. And what your time horizons are on your longer term positions, 5 years, 10 years. Also, how do you manage risk? Okay, many questions here. Again, we do have to limit this to one just so that we can make sure that we get as many people as possible. But as far as coin, no. For my longer term positions, I can actually show you. I mean, it's really only traditional market stuff and then Bitcoin stuff. And I'm looking to hold these for a minimum another 10 years. That could easily be booted up for another like 20 years. Like I don't need the liquidity right now. I'm just happy to let it kind of sit there and grow. But all of the tickers that you see on this list right here are things that I'm generally interested in. I like the Vanguard ETFs for growth, for just, the general stock market, which mirrors the S&P. I also have a dividend ETF. I've done really, really well on that, but I'm looking for reasons to dump it. And then I like tech stuff to invest in for the long term because, in my opinion, technology is what drives all of the innovations and all of the gains in the world. So for me, that's a big deal. So I focus on stuff like that. Triple Qs, I have big positions in from much lower, by the way. ITA is a defense stock. I like this kind of stuff as well. Or sorry, it's not a stock; it's an ETF. I like that kind of stuff as well. Military, technology, and health, and then tech versions of all of these things. That's basically what all of this shit is. And then another random defense stock right here. And then I'm looking at this thing, but I'm not so interested in it just yet. Anyways, let's get back into it here. How do you manage risk on long-term positions? Well, I mean, these are like 10-year holds, man. So it's not really much to do. If I really wanted to, on a monthly, I will trade around positions, but that's basically it. All right. MS33K says, good day, Sir Crown. What's up, man? Gold on the weekly time frame. I have to say, without looking at it, I'm still bullish. I still think that this one makes new all-time highs in this next quarter. Are there going to be pullbacks along the way? Sure, but you're in the last stage here, in my opinion, of a parabolic blow off top. So basically all that I said about the gold ETF that we looked at earlier, applies here. It's like, look, I'm bullish as fuck on this thing as long as you're above even this week's low at this point. I do think that you're in the end stages of this parabolic blow off, but yeah. I generally think that it just goes higher from here until we get something like super concerning, like monthly RSI divergence. But for now, it's actually not even possible. Monthly RSI just made new highs. So yeah, this rally can go on for a little bit longer, I suspect. All right. Texas SigUp says, greetings to you and Elsa from Boca. Fuck yeah, man. We've been watching all kinds of Boca videos recently. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Thoughts on Cardurpio? Meme coin Sneck. Okay. Well, I don't know. Has a cool name, I guess. What is this thing? Well, I mean, at least it has higher lows over the long term. This goes back to 2023. So there's that. I mean, most altcoins can't say that. I think the hopium here is that you're going to hold within this current range, something between 0.4 to the upside versus whatever these lows are here, about 2.5 to the downside. I don't think it's going to hold personally, but yeah, that would be the hopium. Let me just get back to your question. You're looking at a weekly. Was the phrase herp and derp derived from the HBDR? Actually, it wasn't, but they go together just so perfectly. Yeah. So again, I do think that this is less likely to produce a bullish result here. But the area to get bullish on is really, really clear. Just anywhere above this past week's high would be pretty damn good. But until that happens, man, I really would be having a bearish bias here as long as this downtrend remains available. And that downtrend is available as long as you're below, this past week's high. So you will have bullish evidence building up here relatively soon. I mean, it already is building up, to be fair, but that would imply that we probably see one more downside move and then it gets a bounce. And then you have to pray to fucking Boolah Jesus that this thing's going to bounce back above the March 26th high. And if it fails to do that, then, well, probably a lot more downside. But, it does deserve recognition that it has had a general uptrend over a long period of time. So I guess the hopium, I guess I could kind of hold on to that for the time being. But make no mistake about it. I do think you're going to test into the bottom side of this region. All major moving averages are in bearish posture, and it is hopium in my opinion. But yeah. Anyways, Treebeard says, hello, Crown. Euro versus the dollar, weekly, daily. Sure. I have this one on my list here. Yes. Okay. Euro dollar bullish, at least on the daily. Weeklies right at the 200 simple. That is where this thing has been getting rejected for the past 3 years or abouts there. So short term, do I think this one trades a little bit higher? Maybe retests around that 200 simple at like 109, 110 region? Probably yes. Here's the thing. Forex does trade a little bit more weird. Yes, this is a downtrend. Yes, if this was anything else to say, yeah, this is obviously bearish. But in this case, I'm more inclined to say that it probably does push through here. This probably is a monthly higher low. but that ain't based off of technicals, to be honest. Where would I say, hey, I capitulate on that, and I think this thing is going to come back down to the lows and make new lows? Well, if this thing trades below 107 would be kind of my line in the sand there. So yeah. All right. Crypto Khalifa says, good morning, sir. When you mention multiple drives of RSI divergence, do you mean that the divergence should originate from the same point, or is it equally significant if the multiple drives come from different points? I mean, you're going to notice that they come from the same point anyways, because if they come from like different point, I don't think it's going to work like that. If you want to go by the book, then it has to be by the same point. But if you're referencing something like Caretaker's RSI, where you can get these sort of instances, I think that's just one of the limitations of code in defining divergence. And if you actually look at it, it probably is connected to the same point. Anyways. But either way that you look at it, both of them are bad. So yeah, Lovewood says, what's up, sir? How you doing, man? How would you approach sizing up positions? I'm a 1-to-1, I'm guessing that means risk to reward, $200 daily profit trader in futures, and I've built a buffer on my account to try to minimize medium size up. Okay, so you want to size up basically 1 to 3 micro contracts as of now. Any advice helps. Yeah. Okay. So generally, when your equity grows, which is what you kind of said there, you said that you've been building up a buffer. So I kind of look at that as like your equity growing. Sounds like you've been doing well. That's fucking awesome. I mean, I can see you here. Like I've seen you. You seem to do well, which is good. But where was it going? Yes. Okay. As your equity goes up, the relationship between the amount that you risk on a trade, or the amount that, your size on a trade basically, versus your equity actually should go down. But what I would say is that it doesn't need to remain constant. Like, you obviously can size up, but I would make sure that however much you size up does not outweigh the growth in your account. Does that make sense? Like, okay, maybe I should give an example. Maybe that'll make more sense, because my brain's even breaking right now. Okay, so let's say my equity has grown by like 10%, over the last month. I would certainly not size up more than 10%. I probably wouldn't even do like half of that. I'd go somewhere between like 3 to 5% and just kind of keep that going. But I want to make sure that my equity, that buffer that you said, which is a really fucking good thing to have, by the way, continues to grow itself. We don't want that to reduce. I mean, because ultimately, that is going to be, that's going to be like your actual fucking money. So that's a way that I look at it. Size up, but just in a less, like at least 50% less than the amount that your account is growing. Like I said, I think anywhere between 3 to 5% is okay. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful, man. Free Mind says, hello again, brother. As it pertains to trading, in your experience, what kind of lifestyle/daily routines and habits do you find important to being a successful trader? Anything that facilitates you making good decisions, because that's really all that it is as a trader, is to execute on your strategy, and really only you can get in your own way, assuming that you've done the strategy portion of that already. Now, of course, we also have the Quant Prime service, which is what I use, so that's not as much of a thing for me any longer, to be honest. But still, any sort of activity that helps you like relax and be bored. I mean, that's really what you want. So I can give you examples that work for me. Hard workouts are the number one. Like, when I go to a boxing sparring class, it's fucking intense work. Like, it's really, really hard. People who haven't done it don't understand like how realistically difficult it is. But because it's a very difficult thing and a very stressful thing when you're doing it, your body promotes relaxation afterwards. And actually, studies have shown that when you get these sort of high intensity workouts, and your brain even turns on better as well. Like, it works better, it works more efficiently, or something like this. Anyways, I can say it definitely does help. If you're getting punched in the head, though, there's going to be a counter effect as well, of course. But yeah, other things that I like, of course, are sauna, and then having at least 8 hours of sleep a night. I mean, that's so fucking huge, man. It's such an easy thing to do that most Americans don't do. I'm assuming you're probably from America. Well, it's probably most people, honestly, at this point as well. And nutrition as well. So for me, For me, honestly, nutrition, the style of diet that helps the most for me to be as logical and clear-minded and relaxed as possible is actually very close to a ketogenic diet. It is essentially just, red meat, berries, fruits, and eggs and shit like that. Just basically fat, protein, and fruit, essentially, which are carbs, but it's not the same thing as like having a fucking pasta. So yeah, that's what really helped me. Yeah. Oh, and then you also go on to say, it seems your trading is on autopilot. Do you still journal to look for gaps? Not in the same way that I did before. The reason why is because, I can see my equity curve. I can see all of the detailed statistics alongside my strategy from even the TradingView backtester. And I can even go deeper than that as well. So it's kind of in there essentially. So I don't need to do it manually anymore. Just not in the same way that I did before. Automation is kind of taking care of that, man. Banksy Rule says hello, but edited it. Hello, sir. Frackman says, damn it. Last video, you just missed my question at the end for being too long. Do we have time here? We do have time. Kidding. So I'll try again and make it a little shorter, I guess. Again, just one fucking question. Maybe that was the issue. Question number 1. I'm a big fan of the videos you post at the beginning of each month where you show the statistics of the month's past performance, like green versus red, open to low high percent, average day of the month, low high, etc. Given that Bitcoin cycles have shown diminishing returns from cycle low to cycle high, should we adjust our expectations for future price action? Wouldn't it make sense to account for reduced gains in any given month versus the same month's past performance? That does make a lot of sense. And you are right. The cycle to cycle gains have been not just lower, they've been significantly lower by a tremendous factor from each cycle to the next. Does that mean that the the monthly statistics are not relevant? Well, I would personally say that everything up until about 2014 to 2015 probably is irrelevant and probably is statistically an outlier, and we shouldn't really be, incorporating that into data. That's just a personal opinion. I know a lot of people would disagree with that, but that's fine. But I do think that, especially from 2017 on, things have been pretty fucking consistent. And even with all of that, it blows my mind that the monthly statistics work out more often than not towards the average. We've seen that so many times in this past year since we started bringing it up on videos. So yeah, man, it's theoretically, logically, it shouldn't, but it happens to still do that. So yeah, I imagine that if we got rid of all the data, especially before 2017, but maybe even just before 2015, we'd see a more accurate picture of that, and it'd probably be even more on point. Okay, yeah, we have to we have to keep it at just one, man. I'm sorry, but there's always next week. Anyways, Robin says, still in my CRV trade. All right, no, not concerned whether it reaches new all-time high compared to last cycle. Okay, but given its recent breakout, retest, and send, I'm wondering about the possibility of it to reach a new high this cycle. Okay, well, let's go look at it. I guess we go here. Yes. I fail to see, you're probably talking about this past week. It got rejected at the exact area that we had marked off. That's the point of maximum bearishness, actually. How should I say this? Okay, $1.50 to $2. No. 1.5 would be higher than this high from December 2024. I don't think that's happening. I don't even know if this thing ever gets back above that level ever again, to be honest. There's a very obvious retest right here along the 50% level. It's been clearly rejected. Hidden bearish divergence on the monthly. Yeah, you're asking for a higher high than the high that created that divergence. So I'd have to say, no, man, I don't think so. I might even go as far to say that I don't think it'll ever trade above this high ever again. But I can be massively wrong on that. I mean, obviously, if they, I don't know, if something tremendously nice goes on in the background, maybe it's possible. But I'd say at current, I don't see this happening anytime soon, if it's going to happen even at all. Because again, that would be higher than this last monthly lower high. So to me, that's a big deal. That's a big fucking deal. But yeah, where would I rearrange my opinion on that? I'd rearrange my opinion. Fuck, it's nah. I don't have a good area, to be honest. Or at least an area that would make sense in your case. The closest one I could think is like 80 cents, but even then, I still think it's hopium here, man. This one wants to come back down. I think that this one's coming down next move rather than going up. Anyways, hopefully that was helpful, sir. Mr. Barash says, GM, what's up, man? Just watched your Tuesday live, and you mentioned expecting a call. Is it stage 4 cave TA? It was indeed. It was indeed. I got my injections. Blame the radiation and all the people that made you use the nukes on those shitcoin charts. That's exactly right. I got radiated. My brain is smaller now as well. But on a way more serious topic, you can't say you've had a bad plumber and not tell the story. Spill the beans. It was fucking bad, man. It's just this guy came in to fix my toilet, and well, he didn't fix it. Instead, it just started flooding. So there's that. And just keep the streak alive. You already know the shitcoin. Which? Oh yes, hype. I know. See, I know. I remember. My memory, very, very good. At least that's what I tell myself. Hype right here. As always, very difficult to be bullish on a downtrend. We've been bearish on this thing for a long time. I have to still remain bearish on this. I mean, it's literally about to confirm a bearish engulfing dildo right here on the weekly time frame. If it closes anywhere below 1286, it will confirm that tonight. If that happens lower, how low? I don't fucking know. Probably sub 10. Yeah, that's nothing bullish about this chart in the slightest. If it did get a bounce, like let's say best case scenario, it gets a big bounce in these upcoming months. I think best case scenarios you see somewhere like around $17, but that is pure hopium right now, pure hopium. So yeah. None Average says, hey, Crown, when the hash ribbons fired off in the past, you said 17 out of 20 times Bitcoin never went lower than the previous low just before the signal. Does that mean Bitcoin never went lower than to the previous low ever? Wait, what does this? Yeah, actually it does. That's literally what that means. That's literally what that means. So the 3 times that has happened are 1 in 2021. Bitcoin did make new highs before then, by the way, went up 50% from that signal, but yes, did come down close to a year later below that signal. Then there was, of course, the Rona dump, and then what else? And then it depends what time frame you use. But if you use a daily, then there was one at the very end of 2022 that did not work out. If you use the 5-day, then that actually goes away, and I think it's only 2, or maybe there's one from like a really early cycle. But yeah, I can really only pull up those 2 examples, or 3 if you include the daily. So yeah. D Doyle 97 says, hey Crown, can you chart Bitcoin versus gold? Sure. BTC XAU. Overall, it's an uptrend. I believe we did look at this like a couple months ago. It has hit the 21, just around 9 billion. And you're probably going to bounce here. Then again, I look at the daily and that is fucking ugly. But you have many drives of bullish divergence, 1, 2, 3 drives building right here. Let's hope that this one pops back above and confirms this current local low potential at 9.5 billion. If it can do that, okay, yeah. You do have some bullish divergence. Should have a nice big bounce, close to 10.5 to maybe even 11 billion. I'd want to come back to it after that. Quarterly, not a humongous fan of this as it stands, but a lot can happen in 1.5 days. So we'll see after Monday closes. But if it closes something like this, I'd have to be bearish or more bearish long term. If it can close even just slightly above where it's at right now, like 9.5 billion, which I do think is possible if this bullish divergence plays out right here. Very, very possible. Shouldn't be too hard at all, honestly. Then I think it keeps the bull hopium alive on the very, very high term timeframes. And yeah, I'd be looking for new highs probably before end of year, if that were to happen. Cool. All right. We are 54 minutes into this. Let's go to Prince. He says, Crown, have you ever explored the space of working in or running a hedge fund in traditional finance? Hell no, man. No. So this is something that I think about a lot because, people brought this up to me in the past, or they've levied it as like a criticism. It's like, if you were really fucking good, then you would just be, you just have a hedge fund and trade there. It's like, I can, like, yes, if you're really fucking good and you're one of the few, that could make sense. But from my point of view, I don't want the added risk and I don't want the added stress of managing other people's money. Like I fucking despise it. And I made the mistake in the past once where I did that for a friend and it just didn't end well. And that's kind of the problem with it. So yeah, in my experience, when you're managing other people's money, like I'd just rather manage my own stuff. And also it doesn't make much sense to me as well, because look, like once you get to a certain level of net worth, equity, whatever you want to call it, it's just, I don't need the added stress for potentially a little bit more, cash. Realistically, yeah, that's pretty much it, honestly. I don't really have too much to add to that. I'll get to the rest of your questions though. Any pros or cons, or is it just not as lucrative? Well, it could be more lucrative, but the added stress, in my opinion, is not worth it. And like I said, at a certain level of equity, like I don't need that. I don't need that, and I don't want that added stress. Seen some individuals launching their own private funds and running it that way on a lower scale. Yeah, I do see that as well a lot, but to me, it's like I actually look at the opposite way that people criticize me for, in that I look at people who are starting hedge funds and shit like this, especially on a smaller scale, as like, why don't you have your own money? Why don't you have your own money if you're such a good trader? Doesn't make sense to me. To me, a lot of the time, that's a signal that, a lot of these guys are, I mean, it's been proven a lot of these guys are just fucking embezzling the money. I mean, how many times have you seen a social media influencer accused and convicted of having some sort of investment scheme that they didn't actually fucking do that. They just put it in their pockets, or maybe they did try to trade it, but they just lost it all, something like this. I don't know. Yeah, man, to me, I'd rather not. Anyways, Admiral Akbar says, hello, Crown Sir. What's up, man? Can you check soybean cash? Soybean cash? Is this a real thing? Okay. No. Yes. I guess because it's just a commodity. Short term, I think you're going to play out this bullish divergence here. I think it pops back up towards like 1050. I do like the higher lows here, and the same highs usually is a good sign that it's going to have a real chance at a reversal. But obviously, in order to maintain those higher lows, must remain at least above 1,000. But yeah, the way that I look at this, I think it's putting in a low here, and it is going to get a big move up in the coming, I don't know, year or two, something like this. This is a monthly after all. Maybe it moves up to like 1,200 or even 1,300 after that. But this is going to take a while to put in a low here. I mean, this is like a multi-month thing. So for right now, I'd give it a chance. Confirmed above about 1,100 almost, or 1,091. All right. Okay, Tobo wants to look at Tesla. All right, I'm actually curious to see what Tesla has done, especially coming into the end of this quarter. Yeah, giving up pretty much all of its rally from last week to finish off the week. Still using that 55 on the monthly, and quarterly also using the 21. So it's like, I don't hate it. I don't love it. I don't think it's doing anything super interesting anytime soon, but I can't hate it because it's not it's not like a clear, obvious higher term time frame downtrend. It is a daily downtrend, obviously. So, could very easily come a little bit closer to $200. Other than that, I really don't have much to add. I think that this spends a lot of time going sideways, generally between like 350 to the upside versus 200 to the downside. And that's just going to eat up time and time and time. So I don't think anything super interesting goes on there, to be honest. Davey GTR says, GM, sir, how much weight do you put on the monthly Joule signal on SPX? Let's check it out. Where's my SPY futures? There we go. How much weight do I put on it? I mean, let's see. We've seen several of these signals in the past. They typically do happen around major highs. It's really all that I have to say about that. Well, in some cases, it actually has marked the low when it happened. But the first signal is like the warning signal. The second signal is the confirmation signal. And well, to be fair, they all have produced corrections. So yeah, this one's just getting underway here. It's been 1, 2, 3 bars so far. Can take some more time. I generally think that this chart goes lower anyways. Yeah, there's even bearish divergence on the quarterly RSI, like hard one to love, man. Very hard one to love. Chris says, good day to you, Mr. Crown. Could you explain chart times as when they play out and any strategy or indicator that works best on any that come to mind? Can you explain chart times? Like, do you mean time frames as when they play out in strategy? Maybe it's me, maybe it's you, but I'm not fucking understanding what you're saying, sir. All right, we'll look at your, okay, no, this is something to do with stretching, which is actually pretty cool. Chart times as when they play out, like if I play a 5-minute chart, how long do I expect that to take out? It completely depends on your strategy, man. Like, think about it. If you're a scalper, it's going to be a lot less than if you're a trend trader on the same time frame, of course. So yeah, it's an impossible question to answer without more context because there's just too many variables there. Do you see Sailor and strategy being a black swan event in the future for Bitcoin? I mean, if I saw it as a black swan event, then it wouldn't be a black swan because you can't foresee these sort of things. I don't know. I really don't know, honestly. The MicroStrategy stuff has gotten so complicated that I don't understand it. And therefore, I don't want to make a comment on it. Doesn't mean that it's wrong just because I don't understand it, but I don't have a good grasp of it. I definitely don't want to own MicroStrategy for that reason because I just don't understand like the what the risk is. It goes over my head, honestly. So I guess it's possible, but from what I understand, from what I've heard, at least from the horse's mouth Sailor, it actually cannot be like margin called or liquidated, their position because of the way that they took on or the way that they structured their loans and everything. But yeah, like I said, I'm just parroting right there. I don't have any personal opinion. For me, it's just whenever something's too complicated, okay, just fucking ignore. Like that's all. All right, we'll do one last one for Bobby the Goat for Ethereum. Terrible, just terrible, man. Just absolutely god awful here. I mean, if it closes out on Monday below 2,000, yeah, if it closes out Monday below 2,000, which I think it probably does, then I just have a hard time not seeing this thing come down somewhere around 1,500, give or take. Yeah, that's pretty much all that I got. All right, cool. We are at the end of the hour now. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. Like I said, there's the new Q&A live over here as well for next week. We've already got several contributors as well. That's good. Give them some green dildos there. 1 green dildo, 2 green dildos, 3 green dildos. Very nice. And yeah, we'll sign off on that note. We'll be back on tomorrow with another regular posted analysis. In fact, that would be a good time for me to do the monthly analysis. And yeah, with all of that said, I want to wish you the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully Monday.